What would you recommend somebody do in order to gain that self-awareness?
That's a great question. So I'm going to start by actually describing the three pieces of self-awareness that I think really serve people both in relationships and in the executive space. And, and I would say that one would be communication. I'll get back to these in a second. So one would be communication. Two would be um, the feedback loop, how you like to receive and give feedback. And then three would be um, maybe your own, like how to motivate a team and how you yourself are motivated. So let me get back to those. I think that each you can approach each of these in different ways, and I'll get to solutions for how to get there in a second. But to break these down a little bit, I think that when it comes to self-awareness, knowing the way that people like to be communicated with and the way that you like to receive information is kind of key in order to be productive quickly and to drive a team. Excuse me. Two is the feedback loop. How is it that you like to receive feedback? Are you receiving feedback in a way that regularly at a cadence that makes sense? Are you receiving feedback from a multitude of players? So often we'll call it like the 360-degree assessment so that you can receive feedback from the 360. Sorry, I know that the language is so common for me, but realize that it might not be common for everyone. When I say 360-degree feedback, I mean receiving feedback from folks that report to you, your peers, and also your manager. So 360 degrees all the way around. So it's really important to understand how you like to receive the feedback, how you give the feedback, and whether you're giving it in a way that's productive for other people, and whether you need to adjust that depending on the audience. And then three, are you receiving feedback at a cadence that makes sense so that you can continue to grow? And then the third, what did I say? Communications, feedback loop, and then motivations. Something that I think is really important to understand about yourself is what is it that motivates you at work? Why do you do this work? How can you get what motivates other people to do the work with you? And how can you communicate that in a way that keeps everyone motivated? And I think that there are often some really simple solutions to motivation, but articulating what that is and having some awareness about what that is for you and other people, I think will really serve you. In terms of finding those things, the solutions for gaining self-awareness, there are a couple of things that we did at Google that might serve folks. So one is the 360-degree assessment, and there are companies that do it for you. I think that uh period. I think that there are companies that do it for you. So 360-degree assessment. Corn Ferry, I think, might be the largest company that does it on behalf of corporations, but there are a million other ways to do it.
We do a customized one as well. I'm like
Oh,
certified in every 360 tool you can imagine. So
of
that's why
course.
when I started my business, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a customized one because one does not fit every organization. So you gotta do the one that fits the culture and the organization and the language.
I completely agree. So I'm going to plus one and a higher degree assessment. So
Love it.
360-degree assessment is one way to do it. In fact, that might be the lowest lift. Of course, there are other things like understanding your MBTI score and all of the players in that space. There's MBTI, there's DISC, there's True Colors, um,
Insights.
insights. Exactly. So there are a bunch of ways for you to just learn a little bit more about yourself. And invite other people to share their feedback on you so that you can learn a little bit more about how you are received in the outside world. In fact, one of our 360-degree assessments even went so far as to ask people in your personal life, like ask your partner, ask your children, what three words would you use to describe this person at home and at work? And it's really interesting the things that you learn about yourself. Like I said, I would consider them to be blind spots, but also the things that people appreciate about you that maybe you take for granted. See themselves unless they are reflected by another person. So for instance, when we believe that we're showing up a certain way in a situation, but when we're observed by someone else and that person gives us feedback on how we showed up, often there's a disconnect between how we believe we're showing up and how we're actually showing up. And so having someone observe you in those situations is critical. The last thing that I'll say is